Fundraising can be a challenging and rewarding endeavor. To reach a successful conclusion, time must be spent in the research of sponsorship opportunities. This presentation is intended to help your club research and identify sponsorship opportunities for new and existing club activities. Create a sponsorship package based on the needs of your club and the sponsor, and understand the importance of building and maintaining sponsor relationships. As a society, we tend to expect philanthropic efforts from individuals and businesses. Every year, many corporations spend millions of dollars on cause-related marketing and event sponsorships because they want to be seen as good corporate citizens. For example, Yoplay's Save Lids to Save Lives supports the Susan G. Komen for the Cure. Here, the company packages specific products with a pink lid that consumers can turn in, and Yoplay will donate 10 cents for each lid. Pampers partnered with UNICEF. For every package of diapers purchased, funds are donated for one vaccine. Tom's has its one-for-one program, where every pair of shoes purchased means a pair is donated to someone in need. So what is a sponsorship? A sponsorship is a two-way street between a business and a charity. With sponsorships, the charity gets help with the expenses of the event, and the business gets exposure and low-cost marketing. The more a charity can offer in benefits that will motivate companies to sponsor, the more successful it will be in achieving these partnerships. Now, how do you get a sponsor? First, you're going to need to put together your case for support. If you're not familiar with the case for support, it is a thorough document that describes what you do, why you do it, how you fulfill that need, and the desired outcomes. This document is very important for a club, so the members not only understand the mission, they can easily speak on behalf of the club and have all the information they need in one place. Once you have your case for support, you'll be ready to begin researching your potential sponsors. This process begins by researching companies and corporations in your community. Consider businesses headquartered in the region, branches of large companies, local businesses, and even local sports teams. After you have a list of potential sponsors, you'll want to review that list to narrow it down to companies that support a similar mission. This is where your case for support can start to guide your process. Some companies strictly support the environment or education, so pay attention to their funding priorities so that you don't waste your time or theirs. You will also want to make sure that the sponsor's business message doesn't conflict with your event. For example, an event focused on healthy living may not want to ask a fast food restaurant to be a sponsor. Ask members of your club for contacts they may have at corporations on your list or for other ideas. Knowing someone might just help you get your foot in the door. At this point, you've done some research on your potential funders, so you've likely already started the tracking process. However, there are a few categories that you may not have considered. You'll want to have the obvious things like company name, contact person, and contact information. However, there are other things that you should consider, such as the relationship level, information, interest, the initial ask date and amount, and follow-up tasks. Need an expert tip? Creating a Google Doc is a simple and easy way to get started with your list. It can easily be shared with your internal team, board, and any other high-level volunteers that might be helping you with outreach throughout the year. As mentioned on the previous slide, one of the areas to track is the relationship level. Defining your relationships with these companies will help you strategize on how to approach the company. In addition, if multiple individuals are involved in the sponsorship process, this can help clarify the relationships. Let's look at the 5 levels. First, there's damaged. This is someone who has had a bad experience in any capacity with the organization. The relationship needs repair. Next, we have prospect, which is a potential contact, someone you haven't met yet but have added to your action plan. Then there's the new relationship. You've been introduced and will follow up on the conversation. There's also the engaged relationship, where they have an understanding of the organization, maybe even attended an event or made a visit, but haven't made a donation. And finally, we have our donors. These potential sponsors have a deep understanding of the organization and have committed with time, talent, and/or treasure. The next step is to look at your budget. For an existing event, this may be easier because you're more aware of your actual costs. However, if you're developing one for a first-time event, make sure that you're realistic about any anticipated budget items. Once you have something in place, find areas where an in-kind gift would fit. Do you purchase food or beverages for your fundraiser? Consider asking a local bakery, grocery store, or restaurant for these items. Do you purchase radio spots and newspaper ads? Consider asking the company for an in-kind donation of a radio commercial, print ad, or even a DJ for the fundraiser. Now let's talk about cash donations. Looking at your budget, does your club spend around $1,000 on a particular component like t-shirts? Build a sponsorship level or even a few at $1,000 to help cover such costs. Remember that depending on the situation, one may be more benefit than the other to your club. A couple more things to remember about sponsors giving in-kind donations. First, they're going to value their item at full price. Think about a bakery donating day-old donuts. The price of the donut is the price of the donut, whether or not they were going to throw them out and eat the cost. Second, if you speak with a sponsor and the goods or services are not within your realm, don't feel obligated to take the donation just because they're willing to offer you something. It doesn't make sense to accept 500 pounds of beef for a vegetarian event. If it's not in your scope, it's okay to politely turn down the offer. Before beginning work on the actual sponsorship package, you need to get into the mindset of your potential sponsor. What's in it for them? The sponsoring company is looking for publicity and visibility in the community, specifically for a cause that either aligns with the company or will hit their target market. If your event targets teens and young adults, but the company sells denture cream, they may not consider your event worth their funding because of the low publicity to their target demo. It's all about thinking from their perspective. Here's an example of a brief sponsorship package. These are a few ideas to help start your planning. However, the type of event may determine what your club is able to offer. You'll have to consider the cost and income of your event. Can you afford to give 10 free invitations? If you've had sponsored before, what levels have worked in the past? And has your event grown enough that it's time to raise the levels? Is there enough differentiation between the levels? You want to strategically place the benefits so that companies feel they're getting their money's worth when being the main level sponsor, rather than a second or third tier sponsor. How does your offering compare to other events? How much time do you have to promote the sponsors? Hopefully you're planning well in advance, but take the amount into consideration if you only have a couple months to promote the sponsor and your events. And if you have multiple levels of sponsors, you may consider naming them. It can be the typical platinum, gold, silver, or considering fun names that coincide with your fundraiser, cause, or theme. You have the package figured out. Now it's time to write the letter. Your case for support can make this very simple. Begin the letter with an introduction of your organization and what you support. If your organization has a direct relationship with a company, this would be the perfect place to mention it. In the second paragraph, start to explain your event and its purpose in more detail. Hit on key statistics, and if a noteworthy community or industry leader will be in attendance, this is your chance to mention that info. In the third paragraph, make the ask. And in the fourth one, let them know what's in it for them. And finally, finish with a thank you and your contact information. Other things to keep in mind? Keep the cover letter to one page. Always have someone proofread, and make sure you personalize the letter. If you don't know the name of the individual you should be contacting, reach out to the organization to find out. So far, we've built your dream list of sponsors, organized the information, and crafted your letter. Next is the actual outreach. A good comparison here is asking someone out on a first date. For most people, asking someone out for the first time is terribly nerve-wracking. Your stomach is filled with butterflies, and all you can think about is, what if they say no? It's stepping into the great unknown, putting your feelings on the line, and telling someone how you feel about them. But on the other side, we've all had a crush on someone and waited for them to ask us out. I like to think of every prospective corporate sponsor as that guy or girl waiting to be asked out. If they don't have a crush on my organization yet, they certainly will by the end of our very first call or meeting. How do I know this? Because of all this research and work leading up to that point has made me confident that they are a great match and share my organization's values. Will a lot of people say no? Well, yeah. In fact, about 80% might say no. But that's okay. The more outreach you do and the more asks you make, the more comfortable you will feel. As they say, practice makes perfect, and the goal is to build a routine around outreach so you're always building new opportunities. Before you make any phone calls or set up a meeting, make sure you're fully prepared to have the conversation. Review the case for support and give your own gift before you ask others to give. It's important to have some sort of personal investment. It shows that you're committed to the cause and will make your conversation with others that much easier if the person knows you're passionate about what you're doing. Next, you want to set up a meeting with a prospect to specifically discuss your organization, preferably in person. While in the meeting, your job as the solicitor is to tell the story of your organization. Not an in-depth historical kind of way, but in a case for support way. Talk to the company about your organization's mission, how you support the mission, and why. Tell a story about why the organization resonates with you and something that will resonate with the company. Just as equally important as telling the story, you are also a listener and observer. Listen to and watch the prospect. Engage in conversation to find out what they care about. This is also a good time to ask about their expectations. Remember, a solicitation is a conversation, not a presentation. A key point is to make the ask for the gift during the meeting and get a commitment, if possible. If you do not get a commitment in the meeting, set a date to make another face-to-face visit. Otherwise, you lose the power of face-to-face solicitation, and it's much easier to say no over the phone or by email. If the company is ready to give a gift at this time, make sure you have all the necessary paperwork on hand. This includes your original letter, 990, a copy of your last audit, a list of board members, incorporation papers, a projected budget, and a detailed outline of the project. Don't forget, each person on your list has a set of interests and unique ways to contribute time, talent, or money to your organization. So be sure to specify why you want to reach out to them and how they can help your organization. Be sure to follow up with a thank you note within 48 hours of meeting a new prospect. This is a good place to add specific or personal information from your conversation, such as with your passion for youth, it would be great to have you come for our special event to see us in action. Undersell and overdeliver. It's advice we've all heard and it couldn't be more true. When a corporate sponsor gives you money, use it how you promised, every penny of it. This is a vital step in your relationship with a prospect. If they put money on the table, it's up to you and your team to make sure their funds are used appropriately. If you don't, your club won't be hearing again from them soon. If they have a wonderful experience, though, you'll have a foundation to build on and evolve the relationship over time. Provide each sponsor with a solid report of their funds and a nice recap of their involvement in the event. Add pictures or copies of thank you notes from the individuals touched by the event or your cause. Keep in touch. A corporate partner is an important relationship to your organization, so treat them as such. Keep them up to date on your organization, invite them to other events, and make sure not to overwhelm them by asking for gifts too frequently. Don't bombard them with club newsletters that only have information that's pertinent to members. If you're able to keep these things in mind, you will build great relationships so that you can renew them over time. You'll find some companies want the same package year after year, while others will need help finding a new place in the organization as a sponsor. In our lives, we're all faced with areas of vulnerability. This is no different when asking for sponsorship dollars. In relation to overall community size, many of our clubs are considered a small charity. Big national charities have staff assigned to get sponsors, so being a smaller volunteer organization makes it hard to compete. The goal here is to start with companies you have already connected with. Once you have established sponsors for an event, you can more comfortably go to other larger companies in the future. Another challenge is time. Most volunteers don't have 40 hours a week to commit to getting sponsors. Make sure you allow plenty of time in your schedule to solicit sponsors. Our Celebrate Sound materials suggest starting the process at least 6 to 8 months prior to your event. This gives you time to make the contacts, the company time to plan, and will allow you to sell a better package with more recognition and promotional materials. The event's impact is also something worth considering. People love to gather with friends and family to support a good cause, but make sure you provide them with information of value. Present info about your organization, such as who you are, what you do, and why, before, during, and after an event. Sharing stories and photos of the individuals you're helping will make an impact on sponsors and shows them why their participation is so important. Here are a few more tips. Deliver what you promise. This is key to building those long-term partnerships. Be creative. Be willing to customize a sponsorship package that addresses a company's goals but does not go outside of your comfort zone. If a sponsor demands that they be the only one for an event, this may not be a request worth entertaining for your club, and that's okay. Be passionate. If you and your committee are enthusiastic about the cause, it will shine through and will be infectious to the people around you. Soliciting corporate sponsors is serious business, and volunteers who take on the job should break down the responsibilities into manageable tasks. Being methodical will help make it much easier to succeed. Set goals and check in with your team frequently. Goals are key to keeping everyone on track and staying motivated. In conclusion, remember that fundraisers do more than just raise money. We make positive change happen. Without fundraising, donors and charities like Sertoma wouldn't be able to transform communities and improve the quality of life for everyone.